Quack, 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 quack! Why do we have a yellow duck here today, you ask? No, it's not because it's almost Easter. It's because we're talking about Mighty Ducks today.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stub Club Entertainment. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Julia.
And today, that's right, we're going to be talking about the Mighty Ducks that came out October 2nd, 1992. So we're going to talk about some nostalgia today and whatnot. So here we go, we're going to talk about the Mighty Ducks. Hey everyone, like we said, we're going to be talking about the Mighty Ducks today. That is a movie that Disney put out back on October 2nd, 1992. And the reason why we're talking about it is because Disney Plus is actually rebooting it, putting out some new content for Mighty Ducks fans out there. And it's going to be called The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. That's going to be out March 26th. Sorry if this is not out by then, but we'll see what happens. But we're going to try to do the reviews for all three Mighty Duck movies before we do a review for any of the episodes for the Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
So this was my first time seeing Mighty Ducks. It's 2021. I wasn't born when it was out, and then I just haven't seen it for some reason. It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't popular. It just, during my time growing up, I just never happened to see it. I saw movies that kind of remind me of it now, like Air Bud. Mm-hmm. That whole series, growing up, we watched it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of, like, similarities with them.
Right. I also did not watch The Mighty Ducks when it came out. This was put out before I was born as well. The Mighty Ducks, however, was really popular, though, when we were in elementary school. I do remember a lot of the guys coming to school. They're, the boys. The boys would come to school, and they'd be wearing the Mighty Ducks jerseys for, just everyday clothing wear. They would come in wearing those. I did not start watching the Mighty Ducks until a certain reason, which we will get into shortly. Yes. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the Mighty Ducks and some nostalgia back from 1992. We both did not watch the Mighty Ducks, like we said, until 2021, so 2021. And as adults, I really enjoyed the movie. I say that this movie was not made just for kids.
No, and the other thing, too, is you wouldn't say it's, I don't know if I want to use the word dated. Watching it now doesn't feel super old. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's got that 90s feel of kids growing up when they actually spent time outside being actual kids. That's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. They weren't, obviously on technology, and they weren't on their phones and iPads all day.
Playing video games all day.
Outside, running around like kids. Playing pranks, might I add. Now that you mention the pranks, I've gotten ideas from watching Mighty Ducks. The prank scene with the poop in the purse with the money. Oh my god. Such a good idea to play on someone, a prank. Find your worst enemy, throw some shit in there, make it more than $1 bill, because let's be real, that's not that much these days for anything. Put in a good amount in there, and then make sure they touch that once they get it.
When I watched it,
literally bag of shit.
I know, it really is. When I watched it the first time, I was laughing so hard just at that scene. And then from years ago, they would do in these kids' movies and movies too, the fast speeding up running thing with like the Munchkin music, like what they do in A Christmas Story, where they run fast. It's like they do the really fast thing. It was just so funny. And there's something about when you have these movies with these like big groups of like mischievous kids that want to goof around and do funny things. It works. Just like Cheaper by the Dozen. In Cheaper by the Dozen, they do great things in that movie with the kids. And that's why I feel like I also enjoyed it with this. Because the kids' interactions together, the things they say are hilarious.
They also, for it being made in 92, you can tell the kids swear in it. They say bastard, and they say different things that I feel like now a Disney movie being put out, they would not say that. Or if they did, they would have a higher rating, which would then overall affect the movie. It would be it wouldn't be meant for kids then. So that was
I will
interesting.
say, back in 1992, PG, all of the ratings in general were different.
That's
because
true.
I feel like even, I want to say A Field of Dreams back from the early 90s is a PG movie, but that really should be a PG-13 movie.
Ratings evolve.
Some of the things that they say and do in the movies, the ratings over the years have changed. So yeah, they said hell a lot in this.
Yeah.
A lot, and it's not like it's adult conversation saying this. It's Emilio Estevez as the coach yelling at the kids like, what the hell is this? And all this stuff. He's saying that to them. So it's interesting over time to see what was put in kids' movies. How did ratings change over time? So PG really had more walls up, but more or less boundaries of what they would say and do in it. Because like you said, a little kid said bastard. And I don't know how old the kid was, but like something like that.
Pretty young to say it.
Correct. Because like in Big Daddy, don't they have the kids swearing?
They do.
And that's PG-13.
That was what, the 90s? Or... It was some time ago.
Yeah.
Or early...
It was either early 2000s or late 90s, because that's when the Sprouse twins were with friends and they were still pretty young.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere around there. So in the 90s, when this came out, you got to think about this. 1992, we looked this up. What was the most popular kid toy in 1992?
Barney?
Barney! So Barney was a huge show when it came out in the 90s. And in 1992, the talking Barney was the top toy out in 1992. So that kind of puts you at a time frame of when this movie came out. And like you said, with the clothing, some of the stuff they say, the fashion, puts it in that time period too.
They also don't really make these types of movies a lot anymore. Comparing Mighty Ducks to Air Bud, because the first Air Bud movie came out in 1997, it's kind of similar how you were saying with, it's both with like a sports movie and they're kind of underdogs, not that good. And then Mighty Ducks, they bring in the coach and they bring in their new like apparel. They actually have, formal hockey equipment to work with. It gains confidence and then they succeed really well. Well, Air Bud, okay, it's a dog coming in and that improves the team and they succeed. But it's very those like kind of heartfelt, good feel movies that they're actually really interesting and fun to watch. But these days, I mean, they do put out some things on Netflix or other streaming services. But the more movie producers, they go a lot for more of like the action movies and just different stuff like that.
Or you can say that when they make kids movies now, there's a big cheese factor to it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the best way that I would explain it. There's a lot of this, the fashion is kind of like overdone, very flashy or just odd.
What's an example? Like, what are you thinking? Some kids.
Well, no, you could even say like with the Disney Channel shows or different stuff, how like it's all this glitter, sequins, bright stuff, JoJo Siwa with their bows and stuff. Like, just think about the kid stuff that they're doing today. And then everything's like really cheesy. Like when you have the mean girl or the stuff in there, it's always like, oh my god. Like they can't just have the girl be mean. She's got to be overemphasized of how she does that.
Thing, yeah.
But when you have this, it's just these boys just acting like a bunch of hooligans, wild animals, running into the limo with their ice skates on, farting. It's like the stuff that they did in it was classic, and it was good. And even watching it back now, I've read reviews where a lot of adults will say, I watched it back as an adult. I thought it was better when I was a kid. Some people will say no, they love it the same way, just as it is.
It's not a very, like, corny kids movie. Is
correct.
what I was getting at.
And talk about the storyline then with the coach. Because the theme of what he overcomes and what happened to him.
Oh, so it's a good storyline how they have it where he was once a hockey player too and he missed one championship game he didn't score, and he felt defeated and like he lost his whole life. And so then he grew up, he became an attorney, and he always had to win. And
because that was shoved into him as a little kid.
Yeah, it's very good character development where they throw him saying, you're forced to do community service. You have to coach these kids.
Because, that's another thing with it being a PG kids movie. They have him drinking and driving.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets arrested, and he's like...
hardcore, man.
He gets arrested. That's why he gets community service, because he's a drunk driver. And they said he had, 12 other things go on with his license.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, but...
No, it's okay. It shoves him back into having to relive his past, and he wants nothing to do with it, but then he realized, hey, I've always loved hockey, and it brings him back to his roots, and then he is able to essentially buy the team, he's coaching them, and they end up winning. He's able to kind of relive that moment in the past and get something out of it and say, okay, I didn't win that, but now look what I'm doing, and I won this, so... I really like it. And another reason to watch it and why I watched it is because Joshua Jackson's in it. And I recently have gotten into Dawson's Creek. That came out in the late 90s. So, again, that's a time when I wouldn't have watched a teenage show when I was just a baby, obviously. Watching Dawson's Creek, after it's been out so many years, I really like Pacey on it. And what's awesome is he makes a Mighty Ducks reference.
Yes.
When in season 1, they're in detention and they bring up the Breakfast Club, which who's in Breakfast Club?
Emilio Estevez.
And he's like, they're naming all, whatever happened, they said this feels like Breakfast Club, whatever happened to all of those
the characters.
The actors and actresses. And then Dawson's naming them off, Molly Ringwald lost her ingenuity and blah, blah, blah. And then Pacey comes in and he brings up Emilio and he's like, oh, he was in those Ducks movies and those were pretty funny. That was great.
Yeah, those are classics. Yeah.
This is so Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club?
You know the John Hughes movie where the 5 kids are stuck in detention all day?
Yeah, at first they hate each other and then they become really, really good friends. Oh, yeah, the movie stunk. Whatever happened to those actors?
Well, Anthony Michael Hall got some kind of weird thyroid condition. Molly Ringwald lost her gawky ingenue appeal, and the rest are languishing somewhere in TV obscurity.
No way! Emilio Estevez, he was in those Duck movies, remember? God, those were classics. So funny.
So, because that's the same thing, in January I got involved in watching Dawson's Creek, loved it, flew through the thing, and then I started looking up what other stuff the actresses and actors have done, and when I saw that Joshua Jackson was in Mighty Ducks, I'm like, wait a second. So we have Disney Plus. So then, because all 3 Mighty Ducks movies are on Disney Plus, I went over to Disney Plus and I watched the first Mighty Ducks and I loved it. And it's so cute to see him as a little kid.
Yeah.
And just to see years and years prior to him being on a WB teen drama or whatever you want to categorize that as.
That's where he started.
Yeah, and he actually got kicked out of the school he was going to. He was at a special performing arts school and got kicked out of that performing arts school because he was going to be in Mighty Ducks.
I didn't know
There's
that.
a thing, I don't know if it's a thing anymore, but years ago, if you were at a performing arts school and then you were going to start a profession in that field, they frowned upon it. It's they wanted to nurture you and then let you off. They didn't want you leaving for the big leagues in the middle. I don't know. I don't know if it's an ego trip or whatnot, but he got kicked out of the school because of that. And what's really awesome is all these years later, these actors still hold the Mighty Ducks close to their hearts. You have a lot of them have been in charity events where they've done hockey charity events and the cast will be in it. And then you have Joshua Jackson, who have said in interviews that he holds that so close to his heart. He said they don't make movies like this anymore. He would be so on board to be part of a reboot. And just to hear people that are now in their 40s talking about stuff they did when they were, preteens, that's something I think is, pretty special. And that I feel like says something too about the movie in itself. So to end this video, we're just going to briefly talk a little bit about a new series that Disney Plus is putting out, and it involves the Mighty Ducks. It's called The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and it's going to have Lauren Graham in it, who is from Gilmore Girls, but also Emilio Estevez is going to be coming back.
That's awesome.
Working at an ice rink. But then yet again saying he hates kids, hates hockey. So guess
Back
what?
to square one.
He's going back to square one when he's in that limo when he drives on that ice.
I still gotta watch Mighty Ducks 2 and 3. I haven't seen them yet, so I want to make sure I watch them before the new series comes out.
Definitely. And watching these movies gets me excited for that because they're going to have this whole new group of kids that they're probably going to have the pranks and the different stuff teaching them good life stories and lessons and stuff.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So I'm really excited about that. Entertainment Weekly and some other websites have put out that they already stated that there are more original cast members coming back from the Mighty Ducks. Joshua Jackson, we don't know yet. The problem is that he has been busy filming other projects. He had a baby, and also the pandemic happened. So traveling sometimes to different locations is not...
Depending on where he lives.
Correct.
He's from Canada.
So yeah, I don't know if he's living in Canada, if he's in the United States, but it was causing traveling problems. So they are bringing kids back from the Mighty Ducks trilogy. They're going to be in it. It's going to play into the factor of, well, why is Coach Bombay now going back to the I hate hockey, I hate kids thing? So that is something really, really intriguing. So we're going to leave it off at that and see what goes on when we're actually going to watch Mighty Ducks 2 tonight. I've already seen all 3 of them, but you have not. So we're going to watch that tonight, and we will be back soon with talking about D2, which is the Mighty Ducks 2 movie. So
All right. Peace out.
make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And
Quack, quack.
Yeah, quack. Quack Attack.